right now, I want to welcome to the program from the Virginia Shooting Sports Association, Mr. Dave Adams is with us. Dave, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Cam. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. All right, well, the news broke yesterday afternoon. Michael Bloomberg, perhaps not unexpectedly, getting involved monetarily in trying to turn a state Senate race into an anti-gun victory. It did, I think, probably raise some eyebrows, the scale of the money that Bloomberg is apparently pouring into this state Senate district, a $700,000 ad buy in the Richmond media market. That's a lot of coin, Dave. Let's talk about the state Senate race. Is this an open seat?
Yes, it is. It is a seat that is currently occupied by Republican John Watkins, who is retiring this year after being in there for some 25 years, I think. And so it is an open seat. It is a very competitive seat. It's probably one of the more competitive seats of the 40 in the General Assembly. Makes up all of the county of Powhatan, some suburban precincts in Chesterfield County, and the city of Richmond. And the candidate for which Bloomberg is pushing is a current member of the Chesterfield County Board of Supervisors. He is a Democrat elected in what is usually a very Republican district. So the Gecker, who is the Democrat candidate, has shown that he can pull votes from both sides because he's won in a heavily Republican district in the past.
And what about the Republican candidate? What's his background, Dave?
Republican is a first-term member of the City of Richmond School Board. Has basically young, with a young family. Very good candidate. He's been working very hard since September of last year. He did not have a primary opponent as Gecker did. Gecker is the hand-picked candidate from Terry McAuliffe, and we see that has also helped him get Bloomberg involved with the gobs of money that he is bringing into the race now.
Yeah, and as I say, it is gobs. You've been around Virginia politics long enough to know when a state Senate campaign gets a $700,000 influx of cash, in their favor. That's going to buy a lot of commercials. That's going to buy a lot of mailers. That's going to, get the anti-gun message out there, right?
I can't remember that amount of money ever being dropped into one district by one individual. In fact, that's almost as much as Glen Sturtevant has raised the entire campaign since last September.
Wow. All right. So, Dave, we do know that we have a lot of gun owners in the state of Virginia. We have a lot of gun owners and NRA members in the Senate district. And between now and Election Day, I mean, I said this at the top of the hour, what can those gun owners be doing? I'm not too terribly far away. It's not my Senate district, but I'm not too far from that. What can I be doing between now and Election Day, Dave, to help make a difference in this race?
The good thing about this district is, you've got surrounding Senate districts that, while there are some opposed candidates in the 12th district and the 11th district, they're basically token opposition to the candidates that is believed is going to win. So we're encouraging everyone in the surrounding area to contact the Sturtevant campaign and get involved. NRA ILA also has a campaign field rep on the ground in the area. His name is Tim Lagerman, and we have a link to his email address on our website as well as his phone number. NRA ILA is holding a free campaign training on Tuesday, October 27th at the Embassy Suites on Emerywood Parkway in the Richmond area next Tuesday night. Come out, find out what you can do to help Glen Sturtevant in these closing couple of weeks of the campaign. And between now and November 3rd, every gun owner needs to be active. This is an important race, and the 10th District could decide whether Terry McAuliffe has a state Senate that is amenable to him, that can stop any pro-gun bill that comes over from the House, or rather we're able to get the people we need to hopefully override any veto he might do.
Absolutely. It is, as you say, an important race. And, last time, Dave, that we had you on, we were talking about another race up in Northern Virginia that was one of those key Senate races. We haven't heard about any ad buys up there yet, but I got to say I would not be surprised if we hear that Bloomberg is pumping in hundreds of thousands of dollars into that race as well before Election Day. Is that still a tightly contested a seat up there?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, it's interesting you mentioned that. When we first spoke a couple weeks ago, we were talking about 6 races.
Mm-hmm.
When we spoke last week, we were talking about 4 races. And now in the Washington Post article on this ad buy of Bloomberg's, it talked about 2 districts, and that's the 10th district here in the Richmond area and the 29th district up there in Northern Virginia, the Howe Parish race, which is also an open seat.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Dave, and I realize you don't know the answer, but I'm going to ask you for your opinion. Given that shrinking number of races, I haven't seen a lot of polling here in the state of Virginia, but does this indicate that a lot of these toss-ups are maybe not so much of a toss-up as they were a month or so ago, or is this more of a identifying by anti-gun factions of, okay, we think this is going to be our best opportunity to try to flip a seat?
Yeah, I think that's the latter. I think that the races that were pointed out in the original, the 6 districts included a couple of incumbents, one of which is Senator Dick Black up in Northern Virginia. I think that what you're seeing now is that people are targeting in on the races that could be the closest and have the most opportunity to go one way or the other. That's not to say that the other races aren't still important, and they're not wrapped up by any means. And so, folks that are in the 13th district or in the district down in Tidewater, the Frank Wagner district, they still need to be out there helping the pro-gun candidate in those races. But I do think that the McAuliffe folks, the Democrats, the gun ban lobby are looking at the 29th and the 10th district and seeing that these are probably the 2 where we have the best opportunity to pull off a win. And they can only do that if we sit at home and don't do anything between now and November 3rd.
Well, that's absolutely right. And we do need gun owners to get involved. Again, I know it's off-year elections. You might not be thinking about elections. Sorry. Time to start thinking about them because it is, as you say, a critical race. What are some of the other races, Dave, beyond these state Senate races that you're paying attention to right now?
Well, the House of Delegates is very strongly pro-gun, very strongly Republican. The districts are drawn in such a way that there are probably a couple close races up in Northern Virginia, but I think everybody's focused on the state Senate right now, and you're looking at the 13th, the 29th, the 10th district here in the Richmond area, and then that Tidewater district, and the number just escapes me off the top of my head right now. I think everybody's focusing on the state Senate because that's where Terry McAuliffe is putting all of his energy, and we want to make sure we can defeat him on Election Day there.
All right, Dave, listen, I appreciate you coming on the program, sir. It is always a pleasure talking with you. And what time is that event again next Tuesday, October 27th at the...
I think the doors open at 6:30. They'll have some NRA paraphernalia there for those who attend. They'll have some light refreshments, and it'll get going at 7 o'clock.
And that's at the Hampton Suites? Is that right?
Embassy Suites, 2925 Emerywood Parkway in Richmond.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to try my darndest to get over there after the show on Tuesday.
All right, and just be sure everybody go to the VSSA website, www.myvssa.org, and we'll have a link to the location in case you need to know how to get there.
All right. Dave, thank you, sir. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks a lot, Cam.
Dave Adams joined us, the Legislative Affairs Director for the Virginia Shooting Sports Association.